Hey guys, what is up? Mike here, Laker Talk. Let's talk Lakers basketball. All right, so tonight I want to talk about Brandon Ingram. He scored 40 points tonight, and he's been balling for the Pelicans. And I want to give my thoughts on what I'm seeing from him. We're going back and forth on Twitter. A lot of people, are realizing what Brandon Ingram is doing, saying, should we have kept him over Kuzma? Blah, blah, blah. So I want to give my thoughts on what we're seeing from Brandon Ingram, and do I expect that to continue, and just what my general thoughts are on that particular topic. Next, I want to talk about AD. Today, we're in Chicago. We're going to play the Chicago Bulls tomorrow. That's AD's hometown. He was recorded, at kind of like a pep rally, and people were saying, would it be a possibility you play for your hometown? And he was like joking and laughing, saying, it's a possibility. I am a free agent next year. Blah, 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 blah. Somebody hit me up and was like, Mike, what do you think of that? So I'm going to get my thoughts on that particular topic. And then lastly, most importantly, I want to talk about our bench and how bad our bench has been, and talk about how and do I expect our bench to get better, and what my thoughts are around that in connection with how Frank Vogel is actually running the team. I think it's going to be pretty hard for our guys to actually get going based on certain situations, like in particular Troy Daniels, Quinn Cook, and I want to talk about how I expect Kuzma to kind of fit in with the squad, and just talk about our bench in general, and how and when do I expect, if at all, do I expect these guys to improve, and what we might do about those things. But first, Brandon Ingram. So he scores 40 points tonight. He's balling. He's looking like he wants to get an all-star spot this year out in the West. But the Pelicans are 1-5. Brandon Ingram's putting up some big numbers. And the first thing that I saw when I saw like a highlight clip of Brandon Ingram scoring, he scored 40 points against the Brooklyn Nets tonight. And the one thing that I saw about Brandon Ingram is he has his head down. He gets the ball, he has his head down, and everything is pretty much one-on-one. And that right there is actually the one knock I have on Anthony Davis, is that he relies too much on his one-on-one skills and not picking his head up enough and kind of playmaking for others. I know that's asking a lot when a guy scores 40 points. I know that's asking a lot when a guy like Anthony Davis is basically all-world talent and he's one of the best in the game. But it is nitpicking on somebody that is at a star level. But the thing is, if they improved on that aspect, if Brandon Ingram improved his game and play made for others around him, he would make his teammates better, and the dude would become a legit superstar. Same with Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis, there's times in our games where he gets the ball and he's backing down a couple of seconds, couple of dribbles, and our three-point shooter is wide open. There was a play the other day when Kuzma played his first game. Kuzma got it, he was wide open. And I see it over and over again. And AD is going to get his. He's going to get 25 plus a game. But I'm looking and I'm like, dude, rely on your teammates. Like, just do that a little bit more. I'm not asking him to do it like 50% of the time. I'm saying like incorporate that like 17%, 20% of his game, like playmaking for others. That would give him that Pau Gasol sort of effect on steroids. He would become like the Joker right now is kind of weak this year. He's kind of overweight, but it would give him that more of effect where a guy can single-handedly kind of run a team on his own. And that's why I think without that particular skill set that AD is showing, with the limit of that skill set of actually getting others involved and actually making others around you better, it's why I believe he cannot own a team on his own. He needs another guy. He needs that other guy. He's not. And I know I think Kawhi Leonard is the exception, because Kawhi Leonard is that guy that puts his head down and doesn't really play make for others. But it's something about Kawhi Leonard that makes him so dominant right now over the last year or so. Really over the last year, he's just come out of his shell and became so dominant, so good, that he's pretty much unstoppable, and he can pretty much carry a team on his own. Anthony Davis, whether he's there or not, I think that's up for debate. I think he's not at that level that Kawhi has shown, but he doesn't have to be there if he dished out more and actually reset on the block. So just do that more. Kick it out, reset, kick it out, reset, do that stuff. And just kind of play make a little bit. Find cutters here and there. He can do that, but I'm just saying, can he do it a little bit more? And so when I see Brandon Ingram, I look at the highlight and I'm seeing like all these three-point shooters wide open. And Brandon Ingram just like put his head down. He's getting his. And he's getting buckets. But I don't think that type of play could happen on our squad, even if we kept him. And I know, and I want to get to that in a second, but they wouldn't have all happened because his contract was $7 million. Lonzo Ball's contract was around that same price. We had to bunch up a lot of heavy contracts in order to get AD. Kuzma was at $1.9 million. Although his talent level was there in terms of like somebody that we could give, he wasn't making enough to give. So you might as well, it would have been like throwing Kuzma away for nothing if you included him in the deal. And also Kuzma or Brandon Ingram on the squad with LeBron, it wouldn't have worked. He wouldn't have been playing like this. And also because he needs the ball and he wouldn't have been as effective. A guy that just goes one-on-one with head down and getting 25, 26 a night. Nah. And also somebody pointed out on Twitter right now saying if Zion was there, Brandon Ingram's numbers would be a little lower. Right now, no one's there. There's no one there that can score. Brandon Ingram is pretty much the only one that's going to get his, and he's hooping right now. So shout out to Brandon Ingram for taking advantage of his opportunities because this is going to get him a big bag next year. But with all that said and done, I still want Brandon Ingram. I want him to play make a little bit more for others. That would be like, this dude's becoming a legit superstar. Right now, he's just a hot all-star. And, he's going to get buckets. And that's what he's doing. So shout out to Brandon Ingram for getting his. But, that leads me to Anthony Davis. It's very similar situations. When I look at Anthony Davis, I look at a guy that we need LeBron James with Anthony Davis in order for us to succeed at the level that I think we can succeed. And Anthony Davis, so when I go back and I look at what he said today in Chicago, it doesn't move me at all. Somebody said, Mike, I don't like this. Listen, free agent talk at this point, trust me, I'm not moved one iota. Not even a needle, not even a slice of hair. I'm not moved at all. Trust me, AD could walk and it wouldn't bug me. Now, losing somebody who's a guy that I think can run a team on his own and do this and do that, it would hurt me. But trust me, AD, though I want him to stay, it wouldn't hurt me like losing a Kobe Bryant or if I'm the Warriors and I lost Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a guy that is single-handedly can lift up a team, right? I mean, like a perfect non-injured Kevin Durant. Those are the type of guys. LeBron is on his way out. He's about to retire at some point, 2-3 years from now. So I'm not really tripping on that. But with all that said, it doesn't move me at all. I'm not worried at all about Anthony Davis. I love Anthony Davis. I think he's a perfect fit right now for our team with the way Dwight Howard's playing as a backup and with LeBron James' resurgence playing at this level. Anthony Davis, LeBron James with Dwight Howard is the perfect setup that we have on the team. Will that last? Of course not. And I don't expect that to. I don't expect Dwight Howard to remain healthy for the next 2-3 years. Of course, if he continues like this, we're going to re-sign him. But do I expect him to remain healthy like this for the next 2-3 years? No. Do I expect LeBron to continue to play like this when he's 40 years old? No. Or 37? No. 36? No. He's going to, Father Time is undefeated. He's going to take a step back at some point, either next year or the next year after. And at some point, do I want to re-sign Anthony Davis? Of course. And what could we resign him for? A 5-year, 4-year deal? Let's say we resign him 4-year deal. When LeBron James leaves, we're going to need another guy. AD cannot do it by himself. We're going to need another guy to step up. I look at AD like somebody would look at like a Paul George, a really good talent, but not a guy that can do it by himself. He's not in Kawhi Leonard's territory, in my opinion. He's not in LeBron James' territory. He's in. I mean, even James Harden, in my opinion, because the guy can get 36 a night from the line and also play make for his big and do that pick and roll thing. I would hurt. It would hurt me to lose like a James Harden. But AD is a guy that you saw last year. He's with the Pelicans for 7 years. And the guy, he really needed Rondo to really facilitate and play that role. With all that saying, do I want AD to leave? Of course not. I want AD to re-sign with us. And I want LeBron James to finish out the next 2 years strong. And that's all I'm thinking right now. Anything after that, I don't know. But AD is not the guy that I'm thinking is going to carry us to a championship on his own. He's not. He needs help. And it's too far to even think about who that might be after LeBron James leaves. And I'm not fazed one iota if AD decides to test free agency and he goes somewhere else. That doesn't bother me. Do I think he's going to go somewhere else? No. I think he's going to stay. Obviously, he's going to re-up on a big contract. Might do a 1-year deal, 2-year, whatever. But I think he's going to re-up. But it doesn't faze me at all. Anyway, lastly, I want to talk about our bench. I know it's a long video, but some good topics tonight. I want to talk about our bench. Our bench has been weak, and I'm thinking about our bench, and I'm thinking about, okay, when I say weak, I'm not including KCP, although KCP has been struggling. Caruso has been struggling in terms of like what I expected him to do, but he's not really that bad. And Dwight Howard. So I'm excluding KCP, Caruso, and Dwight Howard. And the main reason why I'm excluding KCP, because KCP can play defense and he's doing what Frank Vogel needs him to do. When I look at our bench and I'm saying we're not getting anything out of Dudley, so you can just scratch him off, right? Troy Daniels can't find the bucket, can't shoot, and Quinn Cook, who we thought can dribble the basketball, could be that other guard getting a dribble. He's not playing well. So I'm really saying Quinn Cook, Troy Daniels, and I'm including Kuzma in there, expecting how is Kuzma going to fit in? And here's why I'm saying, how is he going to fit in? How is he going to fit in when I think Frank Vogel prefers defensive guys over giving guys enough minutes and enough shots to kind of shoot their way out of a slump? That's why I think it's going to be hard for our shooters who can't play defense, in particular, Quinn Cook, Troy Daniels, Dudley. I don't expect anything from them. They might be in for 1 minute, and if they don't hit that three, it's over. You're not good for anything. Frank Vogel's just getting you in there to get Danny Green or get Avery Bradley or to get KCP or to get Caruso back in there. So KCP is still going to have enough time to get his... The reason why KCP has enough time to get his shots off and to kind of get out of his slump is because the dude can play good elite defense, as you see. Watch the games. KCP can still play defense, and the dude is a bonehead. He screws up here and there, left and right. He screws up 85% of the time, but Frank Vogel puts him out there because he can play defense. Kuzma right now needs to get his legs under him. Everyone's saying he needs about 5 to 10 games, and I agree. But here's what's going to happen. Even with Kuzma and those other guys, if we're playing some tough teams and Frank Vogel's team or scheme is predicated on tough defense, if Kuzma, and he's a liability on the defensive end. If he's not stepping up on that end, it's going to be hard for him to get a number of shots to get to where I think I wanted him to get to. It's going to be hard for him without repetition right now for him to be as efficient and get up buckets the way we need him to do if he's not playing elite or really good defense. Frank Vogel is a defensive guy, and he's high IQ on the defensive end. That's why we put Dwight Howard out there all the time. Dwight Howard scored 4 points, but he did well for us. And the reason why Dwight Howard was able to get 14 points and 13 rebounds is because he's so good on defensive end, he stays on the floor. If you cannot play defense right now, Frank Vogel is not going to keep you on the floor. And that's why I fear right now for Kuzma and seeing him get out of, get his leg back and get up a lot of shots right now. I don't think Frank Vogel will allow him to put up 10 plus shots while not playing good defense and keep him on the floor. He's going to pull him at some point. So I'm curiously watching that situation. Troy Daniels if he doesn't make a bucket, he's coming out. If Quinn Cook doesn't make a bucket, he's coming out because he can't play a lick of defense. The only guys that can play, the reason why Caruso's out there because he can handle the ball. And he can play a little defense. KCP's out there because he can play defense, basically. Dwight Howard is a monster on defensive end. So Rondo is our only hope in terms of getting more play off the bench, but I'm curious how our other guys. I was hoping these other guys. The reason why I'm curious about these, I was hoping these other guys could play big for us. Definitely Quinn Cook. The dude is nothing right now. Troy Daniels, bye. And now we're waiting on Kuzma to get his legs under him and see how that goes. I'm just curious to know, with Frank Vogel's attention to detail on the defensive end, how and when are these guys going to get enough minutes to get into a rhythm, to get going, as we see. Anyway, that's my thoughts for tonight. I know the video is long, but some good topics tonight, some juicy topics. And it's kind of like a podcast episode tonight. Anyway, so that's my topics. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on all these topics, on Brandon Ingram, on Kuzma, on AD, and our bench in general. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's going to be hard for those guys to find their rhythm based on Frank Vogel's attention to defense and things like that? If they're not playing defense, how are they going to stay on the floor? That's what I'm curious about. Anyway, hit me up in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for commenting, liking, and subscribing. As always, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at MikeSportsLA. I'll holler at you guys. Peace.